Hey everyone, Prez here, and today we have another Levia game for you to look at. We've done a Levia game before. This is the first repeat of a hero. I know people are keen for a lot more brute content. I don't have too much more recorded on file, but this is one of the games I do have left that'll be really good and helpful to go over. So let's get into it. Nothing about sideboarding has really changed. We're cutting all of the cards that can be a little bit clunky, the cards that don't help us block, the cards that are really bad into the Brute's action point generation, and are just presenting a streamlined plan with a lot of heralds and a lot of ways to stop those heralds from being popped. On to the gameplay. Levia is going first. First, second in this matchup isn't really too big of a deal, but I probably slightly prefer going second. Just having the first opportunity to have a hand that does something and grabs real tempo is very helpful. Levia on the first turn can abuse a little bit of the turn 0 privilege with pulping, pitching an Eye of Ophidia. That's actually really interesting tech. That's pretty cool here. Just guaranteeing that you're not going to whiff on your draw discard effects is really interesting. Regardless, we leak 3 damage here. It has Dominate. We've got no other play. Can't do anything about it. Just have to eat 3. See what else they come with on turn 0. Just a claw, 3 more damage. We're probably happy just to chuck an aura and footsteps in front of this, pitch the Wrath in our hand, hold on to the Red Herald. That's our biggest upside card for our first real turn of the game. Pretty much as always, I am looking for windows to use Halo to grab Triumph at every single opportunity. That play and the tempo it provides is so pivotal to you having a chance in any brute matchup. This hand that we've drawn on our first turn, this is a really good example. We've only got 4 cards, we don't have an arsenal, we have a Wrath, we have Halo, we have another Herald to pitch, and we've got yellows. Keeping this Red Herald means that we get to present our strongest turn of the game, potentially on turn 1. They pop, we go for it. The thing about Halo, as I keep saying, it's not about waiting for the perfect time to use it, it's about waiting for the right time to use it. It doesn't matter if the right time to use your equipment is on the first turn of the game. When you've got an equipment piece like Halo, you put it in that head slot for a specific reason, and you should be willing to use it for that specific reason, regardless of when it occurs in the actual turn number of the game. This comes with a caveat, of course. Don't pop your Halo turn 0. Come on, guys. We do the thing. We hold Wrath. Holding Wrath is actually sometimes incorrect there, but also there's an argument just to put it in the arsenal. Pitching a second card, coming in with Soraya, getting our guaranteed damage, and then coming in with a Herald of Protection while our Figment of Triumph is still active. This is the exact turn we want. They're likely going to try and block this out. We've got a Ponder token, so we're happy to just throw this Wrath over to get it over the top. If your opponent is not going to stop your Herald from hitting, why are you using the tools that are specifically to get your Herald to hit? All of your tools, your Wraths, your Reprimands, they're so much more powerful when you use them after your opponent has attempted to interact with you, not before. Saving Wrath for the second Herald here means that we're likely to get 2 Herald hits out of this turn instead of just the 1. Our opponent just passes, no blocks, so we're also happy just to throw this Wrath for 4 vanilla damage and cycle it, basically. We're still getting Figments out of our deck, we're increasing the quality of our future hands, and we still have Dreamweavers available. Passing Mirage, not the best arsenal target. This is why there's an argument to arsenal that Wrath over whatever we draw off the top randomly, but that's usually not worth IPing yourself. You've got a guaranteed window to keep the cards flowing and cycle the card for basically free. You're just generating 4 damage out of nowhere. Why would you not do that? Having a Passing Mirage and Arsenal here, it's perfectly fine. We're just going to respond to Levia's Go Again attacks by partially blocking and letting Soraya get full value. You know the drill. You can never really keep these angels around. Brutes are very likely to throw high numbers at you. The lowest number you can really expect is a 3 off claw. And when they throw a 3 at you, you just let your angel get 3 value. The important thing is that your angels get 3 to 4 value every single time. We just have to tank that swing big. This is not a great turn, but they're just going to pop us. Not much that can be done about it. We get to take a card out of their hand, It's a popper. We get to pay for footsteps and throw a passing mirage out, arsenaling a new one. Getting a second passing mirage here, not ideal, but gotta play the hands that you draw. We do get a little bit of a payoff here. Our opponent's hand must have been very, very clunky after taking that 6 out of it, because all they did is throw an attack into our passing mirage and say go. We have triumphs. We like triumphs. Triumphs are very, very good at punishing our opponent when they just pass and leave us with 4 cards. They chuck a carrion husk in front of it. This is kind of why I love Wrath into Levia and just holding it here. This is very, very interesting as well, giving us Scowling Fleshbag in addition. It's fine. We're perfectly happy with this. We're just going to cycle our not dead, but subpar blue out of our hand. It's great that it's a triumph. We get to play a second passing mirage. They really respected it the first time. We still get to awaken an angel. We're keeping triumph around because triumph can be useful later in the game as another debuff your entire turn. We get to replace our passing mirage, get a reprimand in arsenal so that even if they deal with a passing mirage, we have a way to play around Phantasm on our next turn. That's the most important part. Dreamweavers are an insurance policy. Every turn you don't have to use them is a huge win. Our opponent has drawn a Bloodrush Bellows, which you're never happy to see. They've pitched a blue, so Claw is going to come in behind it for 5 with Go Again. You know the drill. Let our angel get full value. There's not much that can be done when they find Bloodrush Bellows. You just have to punish them as hard as you can before they find it, and during and after. Getting the Scowling Fleshbag on the last turn actually gives us a really, really good chance to win this game, despite the life total difference, despite the armor difference. This Wild Ride, not great, but gotta tank it again, and they are maybe making the mistake here. We haven't drawn a yellow. Our opponent doesn't know that, but we haven't drawn a yellow, so our turn's going to kind of suck. Regardless, our opponent is deciding that maybe it's more important to try killing us than it is to clear our aura. Nope, they're descending 5 at us and using an actual attack to clear Passing Mirage instead. That's still a pretty good outcome. We took 2 extra damage. We should have really thrown one of our blue Spectres in front of one of their attacks this turn. But, you know, it's all about opportunity cost. We are taking 2 damage earlier so that we can represent more things later and have more blocking options later. Them throwing an attack into the Passing Mirage actually means that we don't have our hand forced, and they just don't get through as much damage as they otherwise could have. Win-win. This Levia really likes respecting our attacks. That's actually a good thing, right? Like, that's something that we can take into our decision making and abuse. This Levia is very keen to not let our heralds hit. It's a good instinct, but they're going to burn through their armor incredibly quickly, and this time we had a Wrath to be able to punish the block. Imagine if we had a Wrath for that Carrion Husk Scowling Fleshbag block, and we still got to hit them for 1 through their decision to try and stop us. We just get a Dud Angel, awaken, you know the drill, get our 4 value. We didn't have to use Reprimand last turn, so we get to hold it for this one. Perfect. Levia's turn is also a little bit weak. They're just playing a Call to the Grave, probably going to swing a Claw. We can expect to lose our Angel here, but not take much additional value. Call to the Grave getting Beast Within is such a cool interaction. But this is one of the other things that is really important to point out and think about and factor into your decision making during games. Just like how Prism can sometimes draw a mixture of Wraths, Reprimands, your Figments, your Auras, and you end up with a hand that doesn't really do much and also doesn't block, Levia can do the same. Brutes can do the same. Every deck can do the same. Levia's turn just ends up being a Shadowborn Horror. It looks like they didn't banish a 1-cost attack, so they won't be able to come in with a second chain link. Not ideal for them, but again, other decks have a brick rate. This is one of the things that can go wrong. If they have a 1-cost in Arsenal, they still get to present another chain link, but otherwise, we're perfectly happy taking 3 damage through our Angel, cracking back with a full 5-card hand, and once again, presenting 2 Heralds, saving Dreamweavers, their life is getting very, very low and they can't transform into Blasphemate because they're on that magic number of 13. They thought quite hard on what to do about this first herald, so we just cut that out for you. They end up no blocking. They've been respecting our heralds for most of the game, but so them no blocking this Herald of Triumph after thinking about it for a hot minute tells me that they do not have they do not have a card with 7 or more power. Still expecting a 6, but the other thing it tells me is that their hand is a little bit difficult and they don't want to block. This is confirmed when they think about just giving us the 2 armor on this blue Herald of Protection. They end up giving us Diabolic Offering as well, which looks really weird. It turns out that they have a Bloodrush Bellows, so they don't want to risk discarding it and not getting the go again. Very fair. Fab is a weird game in this scenario. It's actually better to block for 0 than hold the card. Weird. But interesting. Regardless, they don't trigger Phantasm, so Reprimand gets to sit, and functionally it's like we got to use it. They're down to 3 cards in hand, 1 in arsenal. They pitch 1, play the Blood Rush, discard a 6. Get the 2 cards back with resources for claw. That card in arsenal, in their arsenal, has been sitting there for quite a while. But as it is, we're sitting here, we've got a functional, 11 life? We've drawn a near guaranteed way to kill them if we can block 3. So they need to be able to deal 14 damage off 3 cards while turning off their blood debt. This is the other thing to think about. In late game scenarios, you often don't even have to hit Levia. You just have to take the 6 power cards out of their hands, especially the ones with that banish 3 cards at random from your graveyard text. In this case, they were forced into playing 1. They had to take the gamble and their graveyard was a little bit full. They missed on Dread Screamer's banish, they don't get go again, and they died of their own blood debt. Even if they had hit here, we went to 1, we went dead. Again, the only point of life that matters is the one that kills you, and we would have put them on exactly Reckless Swing if they wanted to have a chance of not dying to our follow-up Dreamweaver's Erudition Angelic Wrath turn. At the end of the day, this is a really, really good example of what I'm looking to do into Levia. Keep the games short, abuse those power turns. Remember we used Halo on the very first turn of the game because it was the correct time to use it. We're waiting for the correct time, not the perfect time. Being able to get that tempo right out of the gate and start whittling their life total down, especially against an opponent that's being so careful to block out your heralds and are abusing the armor suite that Brute has to do so, that's really, really strong. Just being able to get their life total down regardless, chew through their armor regardless, and put them in a position where, oh, I've just got Dreamweaver's Herald of Erudition, I can suddenly make a really, really strong tempo play off fewer cards than necessary. That lets you nickel and dime in the late game for really, really good value numbers. Still in the late game, you're putting pressure on them, you're taking 6s out of their hands, you're making it difficult for them to manage their graveyard, and Levia's hero power is a straight downside. It only turns off a negative aspect of the class. So by putting that pressure on them, you put them in so many more scenarios where they just end up dying to their own blood debt like this Levia did. I hope you enjoyed watching this game. If you're enjoying my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.